Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. And so Nigel, you know, we just like to keep his photo there for him to join us on all of our programs, make them more legitimate seeming.
Speaking of that, you guys in the UK are gonna get 2 new conservative-leaning news networks.
What?
News networks. So there's the GB TV, and then there's gonna be a UK TV.
Really? All right, let's play Nigel first before you go messing with my lighting.
Okay.
And we'll remember that. We'll remember that we're gonna do that.
We'll remember that.
Step 1. So we are gonna cover so much today, but I want you guys to be encouraged because around the world,
all around the world, people are fighting the
lockdowns,
the everything, the tyranny, the communism, it's everything. Everybody's like, it's like, rah, no, great reset.
Okay, now I'm gonna remind you probably 2 more times after this for the show. Yesterday, in the middle of a Saturday afternoon, at least here for us, do you guys remember last week, we covered those women that were in the Bournemouth Beach, they were just there, sitting on a bench, one with her dad. They had showed up for a protest, and then it looked like it was a setup. There were all these coppers there, okay? So they decided, you know what, we're not going to do our protest. We'll just mill about the beach like everyone else that was there doing that. They got arrested. And then they contacted us after having seen our video on Odyssey and said, we did not stage our own arrest like all of the Sun and the Mirror and all of these British headlines coming up saying they staged this, they staged the video. She said, we would like to set the record straight. So we did a video with them yesterday, a phone interview. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It's only got like 350 views. So you guys need to go and watch it.
Share it.
You need to share it and watch it. It's a shorter video, easier to swallow. It's only like 45 minutes long, if that. Yeah, that's short for us, okay? So anyway, I want you guys to put that on your list to watch for our homage to our European and UK show for today when this ends.
All right, so just to give you an idea of what's this show going to be about, we have Toronto people are Torontoans, the Canadians, it's a city in Canada.
They're telling me it's Bournemouth. Thank you.
Bournemouth. They held a protest this week against the lockdowns. We have in Vienna, 20,000 people showed up. We have Italy. That's going to be the best thing you've ever seen. And I have a little short video that is just going to make you laugh. So I think I'm going to play that one after Nigel. You're just going to die. It's so funny.
I don't want to
die. But this is Nigel Farage on why impeachment is a mistake. So we're going to cover world news, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of update of what's going on in the United States. We've become a totalitarian government. We've got the Third Reich there surrounding Washington. It's pretty crazy.
It shall not be maintained.
It shall not be maintained. I like that.
In President Trump's term of office, 4 years, has come to an end, and it is not a very good end. Yesterday, the House of Representatives voted to impeach the president. It's the second time that they've done this. Why has this all happened? Well, after the election, Team Trump refused to accept the result and said that it was not clear the whole thing had been done fairly. Was it fair? Well, all I can say is 100 million Americans voted by post, voted early. And what this did, by fair means or foul, is it meant that in the big cities with the huge populations where turnouts historically are low, because of all these paper ballots, turnouts were very high. And of course, in those cities, they were massively in Biden's favor. You can look at all of the anomalies, and there are lots of them. But the point always was, and I said this all the way through, that actually proving something's gone wrong is a very difficult thing to do. And I never thought they'd be able to achieve it. I've seen it myself in this country, and I have to say, I think the French have got it right, that you should only have absentee voting in really exceptional circumstances. But those images of the 6th of January in Washington, D.C., of the mob storming into the Capitol, I'm afraid they're there and they last. And that was what was discussed last night in the House of Representatives, that something awful, dreadful had happened and that somehow Trump had incited them. Well, I think it may have been a mistake to get 500,000 people to assemble on that day in that febrile atmosphere. But the president didn't tell them to go and storm the Capitol. Nothing of the kind. And these Democrats in the House, they're the same people, of course, that falsely went through an impeachment process against him a year ago. They're the same people that completely refused to accept the result of the 2016 election that Trump won and have spent 4 years doing their utmost to delegitimize him.
Yep.
And of course, they're the same Democrats who, when we saw widespread violence, endless violence in dozens of American cities caused by the Black Lives Matter movement, either turned a blind eye or made every excuse they could to justify the violence, the arson, and the looting. So the air is thick with hypocrisy. It really, truly is.
I feel the
But much more importantly, I think that by going through this impeachment process, they are making a very bad mistake. And it's a bad mistake because, as Winston Churchill said, be magnanimous in victory. They're doing the opposite. They're being as vindictive as they possibly can, and it shows every sign that they will go on doing that. If you add to that what's happened on social media over the course of the last few days, the Twitter ban on the president, for argument's sake, you're leading into a very dangerous situation. And I say that because Trump has been the voice of tens of millions of American voters. They're people who have absolutely no trust in mainstream media. They're people whose now distrust of social media is growing very quickly. They're people who see Washington, D.C. as being far removed from their lives, their thoughts, their hopes, their aspirations. In fact, they see Washington, D.C., they see the swamp as actually being their enemy. And Trump was their voice. And if you martyr Trump, if that's what the establishment does, not only do they put him in the eyes of those tens of millions into some form of sainthood, but they lead to a situation where with a silenced Trump, something else will come along and head up those tens of millions of people. And I think there's a real danger here. A real danger that somebody far worse in the Democrats' eyes than President Trump will come along as a big political figure. A real danger that you see an organized far-right political party in the USA as they split off from the Republicans. And a real danger that a non-acceptance of legitimacy, a complete refusal to accept the way that their president has been silenced and impeached, will lead to chaos and disorder continuing in America. There is a real danger that this impeachment leads to greater division in a country that's already got these problems. And because of that, I genuinely believe that the Democrats are making an historic mistake and that this impeachment won't help. And sadly, the events of the 6th of January and what's happened since, it's designed, of course, that is seen and thought to be Trump's legacy. The truth is, it's a very different legacy. Now, I've been one of the few voices consistently here in the United Kingdom backing up the president and backing up his agenda. I was asked this morning on Talk Radio, did I regret supporting him and endorsing him during that 4-year period? And this is what I had to say.
But do you regret endorsing him?
Do I regret endorsing somebody who has done more in the Middle East to bring peace than anybody else in living memory? No. Do I regret backing somebody who was pro-Brexit, was anti the globalist agenda that we see from the European Union and other organizations? No. Do I regret backing somebody who actually has the courage and vision to understand what the Chinese Communist Party want to do to this world? No. Do I regret backing somebody who, through deregulation and other measures, helped tens of millions of small and medium-sized businesses, men and women, all across America to get on with their lives? No. Do I regret backing an American president who actually likes our country and the English-speaking world? No. Is his style, are his comments at times a bit rich for the blood? Well, of course they are. He is the outsider. He is the disruptor. And I think it's actually very sad that his presidency is ending this way, because actually he achieved a lot in those 4 years.
You see, it was 4 years in which he achieved a huge amount. And I remember meeting him on the 29th of February last year, the leap day. And for all the world, he was going to win a landslide general election. That is how good a shape the US economy was in. That is how much people respected a president not endlessly going to war. So I do think I was right to back him and support him. I regret bitterly that it's ending in this way. I still don't think you can afford to write him off, because he's one of these amazing people. He's resilient and he can bounce from almost anything. But I repeat the point. Carrying on with this impeachment is a terrible mistake. Martyring Trump is a dreadful mistake that will do America far more harm than it'll do it good.
So good. So before we move on from that, leave that up in the background for just for my lighting here. And I say that because I just don't want to have to adjust it real quick while I'm talking. But speaking of, this is our world news show, okay? But speaking of the impeachment, Nancy's holding on to these articles. Now, so the House voted to impeach Trump for a second time.
But they have to send the articles to the Senate.
Because the Senate can't do anything until the House sends their articles. Now, why is it that Nancy says that she's hanging on to them, Leah?
Well, she's waiting. She's trying to gather evidence.
Because there is none.
Because
you
the
got
Senate
nothing, Nancy.
would have to hold a trial. Guys, I know we're going to do the world news and everything like that, but I broke some things down.
Nancy.
I broke some things down for Michelle last night. Now,
break it down.
I know some of you guys follow Q. If some of you follow those chats, I asked Michelle, I said, and I'll ask you again, do you believe that Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi were aware of plans to go inside the Capitol?
100%. We actually know that as fact because the Capitol Police requested further, like, National Guard presence because of the intel that they had that something big, an attack, essentially, was going to happen at the Capitol. They had the intel. So, yes, Nancy knew. Nancy denied it.
And both Nancy and Mitch McConnell both said we don't want the National Guard there for optics. Well, we know that they don't really care about optics because we've got World War III troops, surrounding D.C. right now.
Exactly.
Do you believe that the FBI monitors those Q chats?
Absolutely.
Is it highly probable or almost guaranteed that the CIA would run some psyops on people in those chats?
Oh, almost guaranteed.
So I'm just going to break this down now. The Democrats follow what happens on the internet. The FBI follows. Christopher Wray came out. He's our FBI director who should have been fired a long time ago. He was asked, we were seeing BLM and Antifa burn down cities.
Right.
Okay. But he was asked, what's the greatest threat? And he said, I don't believe Antifa is even a threat. It's just an idea. Okay. Even though Antifa is organizing and doing crazy things, he said it's far right extremism. Why would he say that? Okay. Well, number one, because most in the military lean right or lean conservative. Okay. But not everybody who goes into the military is a full deck. Okay.
Yeah.
Not everybody who goes in the military is able to distinguish,
but not everyone,
whether they're being run like a psyop. In Michigan, there was a group that supposedly was collaborating to kidnap Governor Whitmer. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Well, one of their guys inside that was urging them to do it was an FBI plant and an informant.
Can you believe that? That's our FBI. That is our FBI.
They do that to Al Qaeda people too. They do that, like, hey, here's the money, and here we're going to set you up, and then they're going to entrap you. Okay. So there were 3 groups
on the
at the Capitol. Okay. There were people who had pre-planned crazy stuff. Okay. Number 1, we know John Sullivan through BLM and Antifa. There were at least a couple hundred BLM and Antifa there who had put out posters. Do you believe the FBI were monitoring those?
Yes.
They knew.
Absolutely they knew.
There were supposedly some in the Q chats, from what I heard from Alex Jones, some people thought that they were going under Trump's directions, and that's why you saw some guys with zip ties to arrest Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Now, whoever dropped those in the Q chats
was probably
knew that wasn't true.
And informed, like somebody on the inside of like the CIA or the FBI or something like that.
They had to stop the evidence from being presented, because then the left-wing people, who some of them actually are rational thinking people, okay,
would have heard the evidence and gone, ho, 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 ho.
We saw within the first 5 minutes of evidence, the Democrats were like screaming banshees. I told Michelle, this is like an exorcism, because they couldn't stand hearing it, and it would have turned into a beautiful spectacle, and I was going to enjoy every minute of it.
Right.
Okay? It didn't happen. That's okay. There's a series of events, and I'm not saying that God planned any of this, but he knows how people are going to work and how things are going to go down. And it shows that these people, these deep state people, they're responsible for inciting the violence.
Absolutely.
They're responsible, even though there were some, I don't know, right-wing extremist people. I fully believe that they were gaslit by like CIA and FBI or even Antifa people in those chats, telling them, you know, follow the plan. Q started out as just, hey, look at what they're doing with General Flynn. Look at this, look at that. And there were links, and there were, and the people that I met who were into that stuff, even Patriot Gallery was posting stuff. It was all research. And then
very legitimate.
And then Mom came out and was like, at some point, she's like, I know that the CIA took this over. Okay. But we also saw, you know, General Flynn take the oath that was going around on that message.
I think you have a dueling competition within Q.
Yeah.
You have the PSYOP within Q that has been infiltrated, and then you have the legitimate
people just trying to get, like, General Flynn always calls them digital soldiers, getting out information. If it wasn't for those people, the stuff about General Flynn would not have gotten out.
Yeah.
Okay? General Flynn was innocent. He didn't do anything. And it took us a lot to get all this information out. That's the reason why we know about Papadopoulos and Carter Page and stuff like that. It's not just Fox News. People, the digital soldiers were like digging in, finding who's deep state, finding out this, finding out that.
Right.
But the reason they took the Q people off of all the searches is because they became an information danger.
Right.
To the deep state.
Now, I want to clarify something before you carry on. This is coming from two people that we've never followed Q. Mm-hmm. Leah and I personally do not.
Right. No, I never have.
We just don't do it. I can go into reasons for why, but we don't. Now, Patriot Gallery, thank God, she follows it to the point where keeps us apprised of what's going on. So she kind of handles that realm of it, right? And Leah and I keep apprised of it enough to know what's going on, but we are not Q followers. And when I see a Q post, because I know that they've been infiltrated, I'm very cautious, because I'm like, it's just like any other post at that point, because it could be disinformation, misinformation, or legitimate, and that's when you have to listen to the Holy Spirit to figure it out.
So
but I just want to
I know that people have been trying to keep their spirits up. I know a lot of viewers have been sending me the clips of, you know, Trump's going to do this national this and this and this. That's disinformation.
Yeah.
Okay. The powers that be are finding it fun,
right,
to mess with our heads and to mess with your heads. But here's the thing: people who follow Q, you are some of the most patriotic, loving, kind people who just want hope, who are without a leader. There's nobody in the Republican Party who is giving you information, telling you what's going on the inside.
Right.
Guys, there are no military tribunals happening. I don't want to take that. But here's the thing. We talked about this. You don't need those. We want real
spiritual
justice.
tribunals.
God is going to bring the justice.
Amen.
Trump, unfortunately, is not the presidency. What this has shown, and this is what Trump has even said, he's like, I became president, but I didn't know how little power I had.
Yeah.
Millie Weaver put out a video of some more people in government positions plotting against Trump, and they're called RevCons, Revolutionary Communists.
Wow.
And they in this video chat, in this Zoom, they talk about how that they have stopped and rolled back anything that Trump does in their different national security and all this stuff, okay? All this is exposed. So yeah, there's a lot of information going out there, and I don't blame people for trying to find the information. I don't blame people for sending me links, because at this point, nobody knows what's real. Nobody knows what's fake. I know that the fake news media puts out everything fake. So don't come to me and say
I'm not gonna lie, when you guys send that stuff to us and I read it, it makes me excited. Like, I don't think it's really going to happen. I don't think it's really true, but I sure like it. It sounds good.
Exactly. You have to have things that have hope. So I want you to keep hope up. But what you need to do, and what the Lord has always showed me since 2016, was that you're going to need spiritual leaders who can give you real answers about what is really happening behind closed doors.
I was listening to a Kim Clement prophecy today, and I don't remember which one it was, so don't ask. Okay, I was just kind of scrolling through them. And he said that we're entering into the season where the prophets are going to rise up, and the prophets are going to be giving intelligence that no intelligence agency could ever give you. No government agency could ever give you. Like, they don't even have the intelligence that the prophets are going to rise up and give. Are you going to play another dark video? Maybe I was premature.
You're going to go ahead
that.
and play it.
Okay.
But it's going to be a white screen. I'm going to have a white screen, so whatever you need for white screen.
Okay, then that's what I need for a white screen.
Okay. So I have
So guys, we're leveling up. So Q
Yeah.
took you here.
Yeah.
Right? To a level where we're like, oh my gosh, we can organize. We can be part of this.
But
we can
here's
have
the thing.
intelligence. God is taking us to the next level.
But God uses wisdom and intelligence. Any person would think logically and say, they'd pulling my leg.
Yeah.
Trump ain't trying to get me to arrest Nancy Pelosi. What's he gonna do with it? You
Right.
know what I mean? Like that. That's what I'm saying. Some of these people are a card missing from the deck.
I know.
Okay, but they
don't even actually have to be that stupid. The other side is just that good to manipulate and brainwash and get you to believe. If you were approached by someone in the FBI or the CIA and they seem to have all these credentials and all these contacts,
right,
and they come to you and they tell you this is what the president's asking us to do, and you have the military background, you're going to be thinking like, president's asking me to do
right.
this.
There was a
right?
video of like 3 or 4 guys running out with a Nancy Pelosi's laptop, or supposedly, and they're like, guys, we're not Antifa, because people are like, they're Antifa, they're not Antifa. Listen, sometimes people can get caught up in almost a video game simulation. I want to get those people out of the video game simulation. I need pastors right now.
Right.
I need evangelists. We need evangelists and pastors, because the field is so ripe. People are longing for hope that only God can give. And we have to be able to marry the gospel to current events.
We're going to do
For the
it. We are
past
in the middle of doing
100 years, we
Yes.
haven't done that. But historically, all the big changes for good happen when the gospel is married to people's lives. The Pilgrims lived out the gospel to where their whole community fasted and prayed, and they got rain for a drought, and they actually were able to get spread the gospel to the Wampanoag Indians and said, your God's real. And many of those Wampanoag got saved. When you're pressed in a situation where you only need God,
right,
God will, and you repent and you seek him, God will come through. And on the wave of that, the atheist or the agnostic sees your God move, recognizes that is the one true God, and that's when revival happens. Most Christians today will only ride a wave that has already been made by somebody who's already been on their knees. And we don't have that luxury right now. We have to make the wave.
Whoa.
The wave happens when we repent and we get on our knees, we make the wave, and we say, God, we need you to show up in a biblical way.
Biblical, baby.
That's
it. That's it.
When Sidney Powell said the Kraken and it's going to be biblical, she didn't know what she's going to say. She came
prophetic.
out with a very kind of a defeated tweet. She's like, or not tweet. Where's she on Telegram?
Telegram.
If you guys want to watch City Pal and General Flynn, they have
And
groups.
Linwood.
And Linwood, they have groups on Telegram. I'm still trying to figure it out. Michelle has a bit, I think it's for certain people with a certain kind of brain. Michelle's got it.
It's not hard.
Okay, I know for some people, the other people are like, I still don't get it, man. Okay, right. So my point is this, she's like, but we need a miracle now. Yes. Now
Yeah.
you're in the right spot.
Yeah.
Now you're in the right spot.
And I said this weeks ago.
You said that. You've always been saying this.
I said Trump's going to get to the point where he gives up. Everybody's putting in the chat, Trump's moving out, he's packing up. I don't know what Trump has going on, but I do know that God spoke to me that Trump was going to have to. He's got that Thor hammer. Yeah, and I had a prophecy, a dream about that, which I had just read the night before, and then they walk out with that Thor hammer, and I thought, okay, it's time for that. But Trump is going to have to get to the place, if he's not already there, where he gives up and he finally surrenders to God and says, I can't do this in my power.
Right.
Only God can.
But I'm going to tell you something. All of this could have been fixed this whole 4 years if Trump had done that. I'm telling you, from day one. If Trump had gone around and said, Jesus Christ, I need you. Help me right now. And I'm telling you, we have been praying for him, praying for this man's salvation. And I got a message that said, I'm praying for Trump to pull this out. And I was like, no. Pray for Trump to ask God to pull this out.
This is Sydney Powell's Telegram. Look at that. The 2 flags in the front and the 2 stars behind with 190,000 subscribers. You can find her on Telegram. Linwood actually has 2 pages. He's got one and that he would posted his fireside chat to, and then I think he's got another one that you click on the fireside chat one and it says this is one channel that's meant to kind of throw you off to get you to this channel right here with 266,000 followers on Telegram. So he sends out direct messages just like Twitter, except for it comes straight to your feed on Telegram.
You want to play some of these videos from Italy, please?
Yes, we do. How about... Look, I just love how that's just beautiful right there. Like Nigel.
So close out Nigel, and it's going to be... You can close that Nigel out, and then skip that one and go to the... Wait, no, that's the one I want.
This is the one you want?
Yeah, play that one. No, either one.
Buonasera a tutti dal Vicolino di Varese, locale strapieno, tutti contenti.
Okay, so what's happening... Sorry, turn it down.
You turn it down? Or
People awakening in Italy. This restaurant in Italy has opened up. So I believe that 50,000 restaurants and businesses open despite strict lockdown laws in place. Police in the video tell patrons to leave. They all start singing freedom and refuse. The people of Italy have acted in unison and have been heard. So go ahead and play the rest of that video.
I love the way they sound.
We're going to eat our food. We're going to eat our food without a mask. Freedom.
That's good.
Okay, you can play the next one. You can just close that one out.
Next.
And then freedom. And they literally kick the police out.
Out of here. We're having our food.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are the Italians.
We got eating our food up. And without a mask up. And I'm coming back to eat, and I have my conversation.
Well, get the Italians fired up, man. They get angry. Anybody that's got an Italian grandma out there? Listen to that. It just sounds better. Why don't you sound cool like that?
Well, we're going to do it. We're just going to keep our restaurants open.
That's it.
We're gonna serve our food, man. That's what we're doing. I love these people.
They're my people. I'm not Italian, but they're my people. Polizia. One of the first phrases we learned in Italian was aiuto, polizia, help, police.
Cameriera,
Waiter.
altro burro.
More butter, please.
I don't know why that's stuck.
These little skinny tables are cracking up. All right, next video. All right, we've got more. All right.
Bologna, Italy. Customers escort the police outside.
Again. Wearing masks. Okay, we just want our restaurants open. You know what I'm saying? All right, this one you played already, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so stop there
because we're stop here.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah. So this was not the only video. So I just went ahead and brought up my my whole feed because this whole feed. Probably don't need that on, but.
We'll go ahead and turn it on.
Da 15 di gennaio in poi. Sto parlando soprattutto ai miei colleghi. Io sono Tano Simonato, ho qualche ristorante.
That's probably good.
Siamo tutti aperti. Siamo tutti aperti.
See, are you guys excited?
Yes, this makes me very excited.
Milan, Italy. The IOpro.
It's hashtag IOpen. That's what it translates to.
Oh, thank you.
And so IOapro. IOapro.
IOapro. Restaurant in full swing, music, joy, celebration, and customers did not wait for government to reclaim their old normal.
Clarence, it's telegram, not telegraph.
Their old normal. They're reclaiming the old normal. Forget it.
They're not going to be able to see that. It's so dark.
Oh, shoot.
They can get the feeling, though. They get the feeling. Is that a redo of that song in Italian? Because that's really fun.
Venice, Italy. Here are some of the first restaurants to open up.
This makes me so happy.
No masks, just people, normal people.
Standing around, no masks. We're gonna eat.
The building's too small to social distance.
No, because this is Italy and Europe. Like, you can't social distance, especially in Italy. I mean, have you seen your roads? Like, for real?
Look at the restaurant owner. He's just so happy, I'm sure of it.
I'm sure he's happy. His restaurant's finally open.
People aren't afraid. They're just going to go have their conversation, drink their wine.
They do a lot of that over there.
It begins. This is
what is that?
the Il Bacoccial d'Oro. The owner states he's had enough and is opening for lunch and dinner.
Nice.
Despite restrictions.
Tutto il giorno informo tutti i miei cittadini lontani, futuri, comunisti, fascisti, quindi che il boccale d'oro rimarrà aperto sempre, pranzo e cena, non solo per l'asporto, ma sempre, tutti i giorni.
He's saying we're gonna open.
That's good translation.
Yeah. Mass civil disobedience Friday. This is great.
Buonasera a tutti, sono Ferrari Hermes, con mia moglie siamo i titolari di Regina Margherita Modena. Volevamo far sapere a tutti i nostri clienti che dal 15 gennaio 2021 aderiamo all'iniziativa di tutti i ristoratori d'Italia, saremo in 50.000, apriremo ad oltranza, apriremo pranzo e cena. Quindi vi aspettiamo in tanti perché io apro e voi non abbiamo.
We're gonna open.
Yes, sir.
Io piano. Io, is that what they're saying? Io.
Yeah. Io piano. Probably
Italy.
just
Io
open.
piaro.
Io piaro.
Io piaro.
Io piaro.
Io piaro.
I open.
Io piaro.
Opening our restaurants.
We're doing a new thing.
Io piaro.
Io piaro. Just so happy. So happy they open the doors. They're so happy.
È bellissimo avervi qua.
È
Oh, you look
bellissimo.
beautiful.
Mi sento veramente meglio.
See, I could just watch this all day long.
I know. It's so beautiful. God love Italy.
All right, guys, we're gonna about 70,000 restaurants in Italy. Opened up.
Nice. Look at that. Robin says, when I was stationed in the army, we used to go to Venice a lot. The restaurants were so gracious. Rabaza says, a lot of Italy is medieval streets and buildings. A lot of the streets in Italy are glorified footpaths. Exactly.
Just a beautiful sight. Just be excited. Full swing. That's too dark. You can't see it, but it looks fun. It looks so fun. Waiting outside, reclaiming their freedom.
Yes.
They are trying to control us.
Prendo dei prestiti, quindi attualmente le banche guadagnano, così quindi le banche sono delle strozzini. Grazie Conte.
E io ho qua una collega, un operatore sanitario. Ciao! Come mai nonostante la pandemia e la paura folle tu sei qui?
Perché ho fame come tutti, ho voglia di mangiare con gli altri.
Bravissima. Ragazzi, quindi chi è che pensa che ci stiano portando
Look at
alla
all the
non
people with the mask
comunità?
under their face.
Cioè, chi è che
I got it
pensa che
on.
questa situazione sia per dividere
People just, look
ulteriormente
at people
il
just pulling it down. Other
popolo?
people pull it down. I'm done. Look. Everybody pulls it down. One person pulls it down.
Well, probably they were all getting ready to speak as well.
Posso dirvi una cosa, raga? Siete dei grandi!
Gonna be big.
Grandi. Yay. We don't sound speaking Italian.
Hey.
Here we go.
You got another dark video?
No, I think I'm done, but it's so much about, I guess I'm going to keep going. All right. It didn't go so well. It wasn't as happy in Toronto.
Canada A.
So Michelle, you can go to your,
which one?
It's just it's a Twitter feed of,
these.
Go to the one right to the left.
This one?
I think so. Nope. Yours isn't. You don't have it.
This is Ezra. Maybe just scroll down.
Okay.
Okay. It's got to be one of these, right? From 17 hours ago?
No. I want you to do me a favor.
Okay.
Just open up another tab. It's all fun and games here. Twitter. Go to Twitter and put in Toronto protest. And just click enter. No, not protesters. Just protest and then click videos. All right. Go ahead and play, and then we're going to play some of these videos.
You want to play this one?
That's fine. We're just going to scroll through the feed of the...
I'm political now because someone's got to stand up. This is not the time for educating anymore. This isn't the time for Facebook.
It doesn't look like Canada anymore.
We are all here leading by example today. Every one of us is a strong Canadian. I joined weareessential.ca. I was in...
All right, another scene from earlier. I think it was just 2 days ago. Was it yesterday?
It was Saturday, wasn't it?
In the anti-lockdown protest, protesters chanting, "Tell the truth."
Proud of those Canadians.
They're so polite.
Takes a lot for them to get out and protest.
Yes. Law-abiding citizens. Kellyanne Wolf arrested at the anti-lockdown. I don't know who that is.
About face, do not engage. Officers, I hold in my hand absolute evidence of criminal code violations by the people who are giving you their orders. These orders are illegal. Which one of you officers cares to see these crimes? Everybody come closer, lock arms, do not engage. You have the right to remain silent. These are absolute crimes committed.
This is a big deal.
We are not going to leave. We are within our rights to be here. Your Section 1 holds no precedence over the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. If you arrest me, you are committing a crime. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Arrest the pedophiles?
I do not consent. I am. No, I do not. No. No. If you touch me, it's assault. If you touch me, you are committing assault. You are invited. This is assault.
We are all essential. Do you know what it takes to get out on a protest like this, guys?
It's a big deal. All these beautiful maskless faces.
Yeah, no masks here, except for the cops.
Oh my gosh, they're wrestling a older
Old lady
person with
holding...
a cross. Are you kidding me?
Do not assault innocent people! Do not assault innocent people! Do not assault innocent people! Do not judge me!
But don't worry, Black Lives Matter. They can...
Do your job! Protect the innocent! Call your own
When the Canadians get upset, you know something's wrong.
Defend the human rights code. Look at this black guy just standing there staring. I love that. That's a good scene right there. That's a good scene right there with his hat on. With his hat on. Oh, I love when people come together like this. I can't even tell you. It's like amazing.
Whoa! They're breaking it down. We got a saxophone and everything.
So, this person's thread intending the lockdown here.
Standing. This is a point in history. Things are good.
This is another angle of the old lady getting arrested.
She didn't look that old, actually. I don't think she's old. I think she just has gray hair. There's the difference.
Time to disperse from this area,
Folks.
I gotta tell you, this makes me happy. Like, look at these patriots for their own country, for freedom and liberty.
Peacefully protesting. Peacefully protesting.
You know, it only gets unpeaceful when the police go in and try to, like, arrest you for being outside breathing. You know what I'm saying? Like, then it starts to look like it's unpeaceful, but it's not. They were just there gathered, and then the police come in trying to arrest people for gathering. And I think that they do that to make it look like it's not peaceful. I think they're the ones that kind of incite it to like make it look like it's not peaceful.
Why are you doing this? Give us room. Just give them room. Give them room.
She looks like she's about to cry.
Many of them. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm media, sir. I am media. Rebel News. Rebel News, yes.
Okay, sir, you have to stay on the other side, please.
Okay.
They were gonna arrest the rebel media guy.
No, I do not know. No. If you touch me, it's assault. If you touch me, you are committing assault. You invite. This is assault.
Oh, they got her. Oh, they got there was the music stand.
Wow. Whoa, what are they running down tackling somebody
randomly for? Just grabbing somebody walking away.
You're kidding.
Or running away.
Whoa.
So, you know, they pick them off. They try to pick them off one by one just to try to get people out. Exactly. But they weren't doing anything. They were just standing there. This was not BLM. They weren't breaking buildings. They weren't starting fires. This is Justin Trudeau, like in his wicked mansion, laughing. Great reset. Oh, my Lord and Master, George Soros, am I doing a good job?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, am I doing a good job?
You're killing me.
I've already been injured by you. I've already been assaulted by you. My ribs are bruised. My ribs are bruised. Do not.
I'm so proud of these people. Wow. I'm so proud of these people.
I have formally declined all offers to contract. I was on public property. Here, we're gonna stand you up, okay?
I was on public property. All right, he was on the public property. It's like some BLM got in on it. What are they yelling?
I have no idea.
So there was in SARS?
In SARS.
What does that even mean? You guys
SARS
know?
COVID. SARS COVID-1. It's the only thing I can think of.
Okay. I think we're down to okay, so we're gonna close that out. Where are we over here? All right. Ezra had a good thread.
That we were on Ezra's page.
Okay. Let's see, where were we?
Ezra's page was right here.
Yeah. There was something.
Scroll back up to the top. That's what you had. That's what you
Right.
had open.
Yeah. Okay. So he had a. He tweets out like a mad fiend.
He does. He totally does. I kind of wonder. I'm like, are you the only one that mans your Twitter?
I know. No, that's not what I wanted. That was funny. Where is it? Well, this was a good reminder. Never forget. This was when, BLM was running their shebang. I'm not going to find it. Here, I made this thing. I think this is it. This was very interesting. You can take your earbuds out. In a huge defeat for Twitter, surprisingly at the hands of a Bill Clinton ally, Frank Gustra, a Canadian court has ruled that Gustra is permitted to sue Twitter itself for defamation, something the U.S. courts have not allowed.
Because of Section 230.
Twitter argued the lawsuit should be heard in the United States, where it would have the protection of the First Amendment and the 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which the court noted would make the lawsuit impossible. The court said that was a good reason to do it in Canada.
Wow.
This line didn't get a lot of treatment in the ruling, but I couldn't help but laugh. Here we have, Twitter claims it, quote, does not mediate or review tweets.
Lies. Oh my gosh, lies.
I'd pass on the good news to real Donald Trump, but he's been mediated and reviewed and is unavailable.
Oh my gosh.
Gustra is a Clinton Foundation billionaire. He's normally the sort of guy who loves Silicon Valley oligarchs, and he obviously was personally hurt by tweets that defamed him. He has unlimited resources and a good law firm. Twitter won't be able to roll over him. Section 230 is supposed to protect the internet from lawsuits for things they didn't themselves publish, like protecting phone companies from what people talk about on a phone call. Twitter is an active editor, but they use that law. Guess what? That law isn't in Canada. Woo! This ruling will probably be appealed by Twitter, but it looks pretty solid to me. This may be the first time Twitter actually mounts a legal defense for defamation, and they won't have 230 or the First Amendment to help them in Canada. They're absolutely publishers. Obviously, this applies to every social media company from YouTube to Facebook to Wikipedia. U.S. courts have made them immune to legal consequences for defamation. A Canadian court just said, you're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
Whoa.
And to think it's at the hands of the top Democrat. My experience with Canadian defamation law says Gustra is going to win on the substance. Twitter will be held liable for the comments published on its app since they didn't delete them after he asked. Maybe he'll get 1 million, but the precedent is worth 1,000 times that.
Yes. So what that means is he asked to have the defamatory tweet taken down, and they refused. But they curate and edit and take down tweets every single day, thousands and thousands and thousands of times a day.
Right.
Lies.
So there's a good politician, and there's in Canada, I wanted to make note because Rebel News is asking you to sign a petition to stand with Roman Baber. The York Center MPP, Roman Baber, was kicked out of the caucus for opposing the lockdown. Show your support here. He was kicked out of the caucus, not for taking secret trips like the hypocritical lockdown enforcers. All he did was release a letter he sent to Ontario Premier Doug Ford saying he opposed the lockdowns. Baber's letter was one of the most well-researched and meaningful public actions taken throughout the entire pandemic thus far. He says, I was removed from the Ontario PC Party caucus. It's a regretful decision since many colleagues agree with me. Including the Ford Nation in large part. I don't regret speaking out for the millions of lives and livelihood decimated by public health. I serve the public. And Doug Ford's astonishing reaction, firing him immediately with no comment on the substance of the letter. It's outrageous.
Wow.
And you can read his full letter here. And no, we can't. Go ahead.
The medicine is killing the patient. Ontario's hospital and ICU capacity are better than in the last 3 years. I write on behalf of my North York constituents and plead for the millions of lives and livelihoods ruined by Ontario's public health restrictions. The lockdown isn't working. It's causing an avalanche of suicides, overdoses, bankruptcies, divorces, and takes an immense toll on our children. Dozens of leading doctors implored you to end the lockdowns. The crisis is largely limited to long-term care homes, with all long-term care residents in red zones to be vaccinated by January 21st. Ontario should end the lockdown and the catastrophic toll it's causing on Ontarians. Lockdowns versus COVID. Hot zones like Toronto and Peel have been in lockdown since Thanksgiving without success. But the lockdowns are objectively deadlier than COVID. For example, A, cancer screenings at Princess Margaret are back to 60% of the oncologists fearing a tsunami of cancer. B, Ontario's overdose rate is trending 50% above normal. The growth in the number of Ontarians who died of overdose in 2020 may be higher than the number of people who died from COVID outside of the long-term care facilities. C, according to, Leah's moving my screen there. According to the Canadian Mental Health Association in September 2020, 10% of adults reported recent thoughts or feelings of suicide, 4 times normal. Among Canadians aged 19 to 35, the rate is 20%. D, sick kids, is calling the increase of eating disorders in young people an unprecedented crisis. E, tens of thousands of businesses shut down. The unemployment rate is near double, and 320,000 people have not regained work. We are faced with a catastrophic wave of bankruptcies and foreclosures. F, the government is criminalizing normal human behavior and putting law-abiding Ontarians in legal jeopardy. Public health can't change human behavior. My heart breaks for the family of Damian Moses. COVID is real, but the fear of COVID is exaggerated. While every death is tragic, after 10 months, we learned that COVID is not nearly as deadly as first thought. It has a 99.98% infection survival rate. According to the CDC's latest estimates, COVID's infection fatality rate by age is as follows. 0 to 19, 0.000003%. 20 to 49, 0.00002%, 50 to 69, 0.005%, age 70 plus, 0.054%. Regretfully, since the start of the pandemic, about 5,000 Ontarians died from or with COVID. Approximately 4,000, 80% of all COVID deaths occurred in group living settings. Of all 5,000 deaths, over 3,000 died in long-term care, where victims were on average in their last year of life. We should focus on and fix the long-term care. Approximately 3,500 or 70% of Ontarians who died were over age 80. While we mourn every death, only 200 people or 4% of all deaths were under the age of 60, and 0 children died from COVID in Ontario. Hospital and ICU capacity. Ontario's hospital capacity is better than pre-pandemic. On January 12th, I was advised as follows by the MOH.
You can skip that a little bit.
On January 4th, 2021. Whoop.
Well, just go down to the proposed
exit strategy. 1, end the lockdown and let Ontarians go back to normal life. That's the best thing for their health. 2, focus on long-term care and proper IPAC instead of imprisoning 15 million Ontarians, with vaccination of all long-term care residents in Ontario red zones by January 21st. There's much less justification for the lockdown. 3, build additional hospital capacity, such as the facility at Joseph Brant, and train ICU nurses. 4, restore health care by ending emergency protocols except long-term care. Ontarians need health care back. 5, end the spread of fear and panic. It's unjustified and causes considerable stress, especially on children. The lockdowns aren't working. They are killing lives instead of saving lives. I plead with you to accept this reality and end the lockdowns. I wrote this letter with my greatest respect to you and your colleagues.
I think that's awesome. I think it's powerful. I think it's truthful. It just came out that the hospitalization rate in Florida, which doesn't have lockdowns, is the same as a really bad flu year in 2018. And those numbers are inflated because of COVID, people are going to the hospital more because they're afraid. They would just ride out the flu, right? Most people never go to the hospital for the flu. Right. They ride it out. And you can only get remdesivir, which is the only treatment, if you were an inpatient person.
Unbelievable.
So other flu treatments, if you're really bad, you can get them outpatient.
Are you done with this?
I am. I'm going to go ahead and go over here to this one. So I want to encourage everyone that we are going to come out of this, but we need to know that these totalitarians, they had this in them already.
Right.
Okay. They were going to do 2030 no matter what. You don't understand. And maybe you do. This one was kind of funny. It's kind of stupid. This music store was fined. And I love how Rebel News is highlighting just little stories of real people. Okay. They allowed somebody to play a piano.
All right, let's listen.
So Gladys, going back to that terrible day in December when bylaw came here, he didn't give you a warning. He gave you something else too, didn't he?
He gave me 2 fines. The first one is being that he wanted me to show him his ID so that he can issue me a ticket. And he wanted to speak to my friend, and I said, I don't want him to harass my friend. So I turned it down, and by the way that he speak to me, I feel that maybe I need to talk to my legal assistants. I don't know how to respond. So I said, I don't think that I should give it to him at that point. In fact, I think that he should leave because I just feel very threatened.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Mississauga, Ontario, and I'm actually in a shop called XL Music. I'm with the owner, Gladys Chan, and her son, Benjamin Chan. And folks, who doesn't like music? Well, I can tell you this. Apparently, the bylaw officers here in Mississauga, just will you hear Gladys's story. So, Gladys, we turned the clock back a month to December. You allowed a family of 3 to come into your store because if you're in the market for musical instruments, you want to try it out, much like a car. Who buys a car without test driving it? And then what happened?
So this customer, a friend of mine, basically came in to pick up some strings. And at the same time, the family has a need for a piano. So he said to me, can my son actually try the piano? And I thought this is, but might as well. They're here, and you cannot buy a piano without trying it. So they sit down and try the piano. And
when we were closed for the day already, actually. So the interesting was we actually closed for the day, and we basically thought, you know what? If they were closed for the day, it doesn't really count as shopping, does it?
And so they were trying out the piano, and you're absolutely right. Some of these pianos are several $1,000s to buy. You want to make sure you get the right instrument. And I believe, Benjamin, you mentioned that there was an individual sort of lurking around the shop, and perhaps that was the person that, well, for lack of a better phrase, he ratted you out to bylaw.
Well, I'm not sure about that. There are people who walk around here, and we don't know. We have a good idea who it possibly could have been, but I think what happened was I noticed. So what happened was at the front we noticed someone walking in the front door. So I wanted to know who he was. So as soon as I walked out, he started knocking on the door, and he shouted at me, saying he was a bylaw officer and demanded that we opened up. The way he was talking to us, I was shocked because he was talking as if he was a police officer on a warrant with a raid on a store.
And to me, Gladys, that's inexplicable. He's here. He's got a job to do. I don't agree with this policy of harassing, small merchants. But why the anger? Why the tone in his voice where he's yelling at you? Surely he could have dealt with you in a more civil fashion.
Exactly. That's exactly why I feel so turned off. I thought, the way he speak to me as if I'm a criminal. And right away, it just turned me off because he kept asking me. He said, you're not allowed to even have a friend in your store. And I said, really? I don't even know that because it's so confusing, all these restrictions. So I said, I really don't know that. And he repeatedly said to me, you don't know? You're lying.
He called you a liar.
Yes. And he said, you cannot even have your grandparent or your sister or brother in your house right now. And I thought, well, that is something that I never heard of. But at that time, he was really furious at me because he thought, you are not complying to law and now you lie to me.
Gladys, it is baffling because on many fronts, but first of all, it's a family of 3. They're in their own social circle, of course, in this shop. And yet we can go down the road here in Mississauga to any number of Costco's or Walmart's. They're jammed to the gills. You can't find a parking spot. Why is it that hundreds and hundreds of people can go to a big box store, no problem, but 3 individuals come into this shop to test out a musical instrument, and bylaws treating this place as a super spreader facility?
Yes, I really don't understand. To me, I think there's
She's
something
got all
wrong
the
with this
signage.
bylaw. I think for us, because we have this facility, and to me, I think if I practice like even just one customer at a time, or by appointment only, we should be allowed to open because there's a need
This is
for people to come in
ridiculous.
to try musical instrument. It is actually very, very important for them during this time for a lot of people's mental health.
And Glass, it's been tough, hasn't it? I mean, you mentioned, I see an incredible, beautiful supply of guitars here. These were supposed to be sold at Christmas time. That's not the case. You do music lessons, but you've had to do them online. And there are many people that, you know, for whatever reason, cannot learn a musical instrument online. So those lessons have been lost too. How tough has it been in the last year? Because that's when you opened the business last January. How tough has it been during this pandemic to make a living?
It is very tough because the item that we sell, this is a musical instrument, people need to try it and feel it. First of all, our main service is to help them to find one that is best for their budget, that's the best for them. And for my students, some of the students, they have challenge. Yeah, just like you said, some of the elderly person, they have so much joy learning how to play musical instrument.
I love this woman.
And nowadays,
I love
because
her
of this,
so
they have
much.
to stop. Yeah, sorry.
And it's sad too, because you would think that learning a musical instrument, if there's a silver lining in this pandemic, so many people have nothing to do. I mean,
so we're going to stop that. You guys can go to Rebel News and hear all kinds of more horror stories that defy logic.
But it's good news that it's getting out there and
Absolutely.
we're seeing it, and these people are fighting back essentially, and we're because this has happened to her, it highlights the insanity of the situation, and it highlights Mr. Baber's letter.
Yes, it highlights Mr. Baber's letter. Yeah.
All right, are we done with this big screen, or we're going to keep
We're
going?
going to go to the next one.
All right, we'll close this guy out.
All right, so we have 10,000 protesters in Vienna. Yay! Marching against the coronavirus restrictions. At least 10,000, I heard it was 20, but marched through the streets of the Austrian capital on Saturday to protest coronavirus restrictions, calling on Chancellor Sebastian Kurz's government to resign, as his administration recently spoke of extending the measures. Demonstrators in Vienna, many without masks, held a sign that said, "Kurz must go and make influenza great again."
Oh my. That's interesting.
One social media poster posted a video of the protests in Vienna. The user said, "Massive protests in Vienna now. No one is wearing a mask." You can make that big.
Wow, that's huge. Look at them go. World heroes, the lot of them, all of them.
Just having a good time. It's winter. Get out. Have a good time. It's Vienna. It's Austria. Okay, play the next video.
Is that one? Mute that one. Doesn't have much audio.
That's okay.
Beautiful people.
So I saw a woman posting videos of she's living in Russia right now, and I think she's American, and she's posting all the videos of everybody outside snowboarding.
We're done. They're
sledding.
done. They're
But
done.
Russia doesn't have the lockdowns.
Oh, I was just talking about these people
In
but
Russia.
Yeah, in Russia, yeah.
They're just because you know what? Vladimir Putin is saying in that he knows that his people need to go outside to get exercise to be healthy.
Yeah.
When you lock people inside, you're literally making them sick.
Right.
The best thing for people, if they want to be outside in the winter, which most people do not, you should allow them to be outside.
Exactly.
And kids especially.
Right.
Remember when your mom's like, go outside, go ice skating, go build a snowman. And now they're just like, oh my gosh, no, you can't be outside. It's insane. According to RT News, 2 rallies took place in different parts of the city, which rarely see large protest action. Before uniting into a single march of around 10,000 people, most in the crowd ignored the police calls to abide by social distancing rules and wear face masks. On the contrary, the people greeted each other with kisses and hugs, and they danced. At least 500 counter-protesters were present, denouncing the anti-mask
Don't you love this,
lunatics.
though? Like, we believe in the lockdowns, but we have to come out of our lockdown to protest that you're protesting the lockdown.
Austria has only seen 7,000 COVID-related deaths.
Do you want me to play this video?
Yeah, there's the...
Und wir sind alle in der Liebe. Und die Liebe wird immer obsiegen. Es dauert vielleicht ein bisschen länger, aber nur die Liebe kann obsiegen. Und wir wollen natürlich wieder kreativ sein. Und ich normalerweise fahre ich mindestens, jetzt wäre ich mindestens schon 30 Mal Ski gefahren. Kann ich nicht mehr, weil bei uns sind alle Skilifte dead. Weil also bei uns steckt sich nämlich auch der tolle Coronavirus. Wir Skifahren an.
Just people living life again. Isn't it wonderful to see?
It's beautiful!
Beautiful backdrop, beautiful building.
Und zwar gegen die Freude. Wer kann
The flags.
das machen?
I don't know what you're saying, but I agree 100%. I'm believing my imaginary noisemaker. Yes, sir.
I am digging this so much.
Give me a skip ahead and
Sure.
just kind of how the day went. This was just yesterday.
Beautiful people. Look at her little box hat. The lady's box hat. I don't know what it says.
I don't know what it says either, but she does have a box on her head. That's awesome. That's ingenuity.
Stop the globalist. That's the Great Reset. No Great Reset. Stop
I
the
love
globalist.
it. I love it. Woo! Oh, it's so fun.
I'm loving this so very much.
You know what you know what I love about what we get to do on our show, and a lot of other shows don't do this.
Yeah,
They're
missing out.
These cultures,
and how similar we are, and how different, and embrace the differences.
Yeah.
But how deep inside there's the
We're
human
all
spirit.
Human. And we all want freedom, and we all want to breathe.
Here's the thing. I love the women. I love like the middle-aged women who are just they put on the signs and they're gonna do it. They get their little friends there. They can see this little group of middle-aged friends, and they're and it's cold, and they are dressed for success. It's Vienna. I know, but here's the thing: they're out, and it's cold, but they're protesting, and they're doing it in a wonderful way, and they're wearing the signs, and it means something, and I just love them, and more power to you in Vienna. If you're watching, I love you. I hope Michelle tags Vienna, Austria. This is just so exciting to me. We're gonna change gears here. Michelle, you go and make us big, and make it so that on some of the other links, make sure we're gonna bring them up. Make sure there's no messages popped up like on the Facebook.
Oh, okay.
All right, so this is a very interesting story. We're staying around the world, okay? Because that's the usually pops up.
I'm on it.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, which one is that?
No, British sat at home, rock something. Somebody.
Denmark. Let's play that one real quick because we're gonna
okay.
before we move on. Let's go to Denmark's. Roll up a little bit when you. Let's read it. While the British sat at home, watching rubbish on TV and cheering overpaid footballers and fake atmospheric crowd sounds, Denmark held a torchlit procession as anti-lockdown protests sweep across the continent. We have had enough. Freedom for the people.
Nice.
Stille og roligt. Jeg håber, at trommen kommer i gang, så vi kommer i gang med mødet. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Torchlit, like literal torchlit.
Imagine if that had marched on the Capitol. Coming with fire.
I didn't know we had torches to walk with.
Yeah,
here come the police. Here come the police. Oh dear.
They dropped their torches. Whatever they're saying.
And literally they're just saying freedom, freedom.
Yeah.
They're just doing freedom, freedom. Before I move on, let's see.
We don't need this, Nigel, right? Do you need this one?
No. Oh, see, yeah. You don't have us big.
Nobody's seeing this.
Okay.
Fine.
All right. So there's a short.
It'd probably do him some good to see Serge's message, whatever
I know.
it is.
I know. I try not to have people's personal messages show up. So there's another Facebook video that a couple Facebook videos I'm going to have you play, but one is a very short
you have this
TikTok
up twice.
one.
Can I close it because it's up twice?
If it is, yeah. So
here's Katie.
There's a very short.
That's all. Here's one Facebook over there.
Oh snap. Okay, play this.
Okay.
This is just for fun.
All right, with commercial break with Lee and Michelle.
Wait, and then wait, the message is up.
Okay, well, it's good for them to read that. Look,
Okay.
how God was going to do and retracting the apology. That's all good stuff.
Okay.
Y'all need to read our messages from Surge. That'll catch you on fire.
Into Tesco like this, there's just one thing standing in my way. The security guard. Here to go, guys.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm just getting some milk.
Pantyhose on her head. She obviously must have known the guy. That was really fun. That was really, really fun.
That was funny.
All right, do you have anything else you want me to bring up?
Not right now.
Not right now.
All right, the Dutch government, the Netherlands, did a really stupid thing. They scammed a bunch of parents out of money. It was a scam. The Rutte government, he has not resigned. He's still running again. He's blaming it on his government. The government has resigned over this weird child tax credit scam that charged families for wrongfully for daycare. And so the Dutch government has stepped down after thousands of families were wrongfully accused of child welfare fraud, and they were told to pay back money. Families suffered an unparalleled wrong, MPs decided, with tax officials, politicians, judges, and civil servants all leaving them powerless. Many of those affected were from an immigrant background, with hundreds were plunged into financial difficulty. The Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, submitted the cabinet's resignation to the king. Innocent people have been criminalized and their lives ruined. He then told reporters, adding that responsibility for what has gone wrong lay with the cabinet. The buck stops here. So an example is, you're a single mother with 3 children aged 8 to 11. You hit rock bottom financially, and what now? My children and I sometimes had to go to bed without food. The unanimous decision taken at a cabinet meeting at The Hague comes at a key moment in the COVID-19 pandemic. The Netherlands has gone into lockdown, and ministers have been considering stiffer measures that halt the spread of, quote, the infection. The government will stay on in a caretaker role and tackle the pandemic until parliamentary elections in March, but Economic Minister Eric Wijbes has quit with immediate effect for his role in the scandal. Asked whether the cabinet's resignation was merely symbolic, Mr. Rutte was adamant it was not. This is not the first time a Dutch government has resigned in mass in a gesture of collective responsibility. In 2002, the cabinet stood down after a report criticized ministers in the military for failing to prevent the massacre of Muslims. Parents were branded fraudsters over minor errors such as missing signatures or paperwork, and erroneously forced to pay back tens of thousands of euros given by the government to offset costs of childcare with no means of redress. They were, as one junior minister who resigned in connection with the scandal put it, steamrolled by the system. Families were left in a state of ruin, and the state apparatus became the enemy of the people. Relationships disintegrated under the pressure. Homes were lost.
Oh my gosh.
Mothers have spoken tearfully of the financial and psychological anguish they suffered. So you get, let's say you got a $5,000 tax credit, okay, and you didn't put a signature on a paper right, then you weren't allowed to make that right. Just a signature, or if you didn't file the exact right paperwork. Last year, the tax office admitted that 11,000 people were subjected to extra scrutiny simply because they had a dual nationality. This confession has reinforced the widely held belief among many ethnic minorities in the Netherlands that discrimination, while being seen as the responsible, honorable response, sacrificing power in an admission of government failure, the mass resignation could be interpreted as an act of self-preservation by Rutte, and that avoids the prospect of losing a no-confidence vote by the MPs next week. The scandal began in 2012, and the number of parents involved could be as much as 26,000. Some openly called for the government to step down, saying they had lost faith and to clean this up. One mother faced demands to pay tax authorities around £42,000. She tried to explain to the authorities that mistakes had been made, but the officials then started withholding not just childcare allowances, but other benefits too. Her rent went into arrears, and energy companies refused to provide a regular supply. Eventually, she lost her job, and she could not find another, as she was seen as a fraudster.
Wow.
Her relationship with her child broke down as the pressure took its toll. Root says he thinks it's terrible, but he's not the one who had to pay up. This shouldn't happen in the Netherlands. Mr. Root's liberal VVD party is performing well in opinion polls. Although he initially opposed the cabinet's resignation, this is what happened. So it looks like the victims of childcare allowances scandals who had to repay large sums paid out in benefit have this week filed a formal complaint against several current and former ministers. Compensation to the tune of about £26,000 each is to be paid out to parents who were wrongly accused, but many have argued that that's not enough. And I guess if you've got a bill of $46,000 or $36,000 and they give you $26,000, you're out $20,000. You've lost your house. This is just crazy. But it goes to show you that government can, in a large scale, fraud people.
Right.
Elections, anyone? That's what I'm talking about.
Leah converted that. Britt Baza was saying that the Dutch use euros. Leah was going to pounds because that was the option, because that's something that we can all understand a little bit better than the euros, because they're far more inflated.
All right. Katie
MU says Root is running a fourth time. He thinks he will get reelected.
Craziness. If you want to bring up, Katie Hopkins has a video. She's in DC. And she's going to show you the craziness in DC right now.
She gets around.
That's the YouTube. It's the YouTube right in the middle. Yep.
Okay. Are you sure?
I think she's trying to blend in with the hat.
Oh, with the pink hat.
Mm-hmm. Make yourself look like a little.
What they're doing to the roads behind. So that would be 1, the snow plow. That would be 2 snow plows. That would be 3 and 4. And then what you have is a little crowd of police vans and police trucks going on. And then at the end of the road, you have a fully camouflaged personnel carrier. I don't know if you can see that or not. Now, I don't want to say that this is overkill in a city where there's nothing really going on, but it feels a bit like overkill. You know what it feels like? It feels like one big stage, you know, one big dramatic stage. And I'll just show you the boarding up going on behind as well. A big dramatic stage that's kind of being set for a drama penned entirely of the left's own creation. This is a capital under siege, but under siege because that's exactly what the left wanted to do. Anyway, I'll continue my walk and continue to count my snowplows.
She's fantastic. Oh, and I love that we got through a Katie clip without perversion and curse words. Good job, Katie.
So, good old Matt Hancock is filmed in London Park after Boris Johnson's national plea to stay at home this weekend as crowds flock to beauty spots, supermarket shoppers refuse to wear masks, and anti-lockdown protesters are arrested.
Whoa.
Exclusive, the health secretary was formed by a passerby walking through Queen's Park in North London. You're going to just keep saying
getting ads. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is the Daily Mail. You're just always going to have like major.
It's disgusting how much
you
ads
seriously
they put up there.
cannot read an article. Matt Hancock was seen covered in mud while carrying a rugby ball. I wonder if I can turn this on. Let's see if we can turn it on. Stop without losing the article. Let's see.
Hey, it worked.
Okay. But sometimes they don't allow you to read it without it.
I know.
Matt Hancock was seen covered in mud while carrying a rugby ball through a London park this afternoon or yesterday. See, I told you. You have to have. There's 150 ads here.
We really tried, guys.
I know. They make it so annoying, so you pay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So he was playing rugby. He was covered in mud. Matt Hancock, as Prime Minister Boris Johnson, is telling everybody to stay at home and to think twice before leaving the house. He urged everyone to behave as if they had the coronavirus, warning that asymptomatic silent spreaders are unwittingly fueling the crisis. Liar, liar, your pants are on fire. Yes. But a sobering clarion did little to put off the crowds who headed to busy parks, including the health secretary, who was filmed by a passerby casually walking through Queen's Park in North London while clutching a rugby ball. In the clip, Mr. Hancock, who is not wearing a mask, smiles as a member of the public who remarks at how muddy he is. The witness told the Mail Online, "I was there at about 3:30 this afternoon. Suddenly I saw Matt Hancock, and he was there playing rugby with his son, I think. He walked right up to me, and I saw he was covered in mud from head to toe." While rugby is a favorite of his boss, the Prime Minister, father of three, Mr. Hancock, is instead known for his cricketing prowess. Lockdown rules state that people can leave their homes for exercise by themselves with the people they live with. Ministers are launching an advertising blitz to hammer down on the importance of sticking to lockdown rules, while the biggest vaccination drive in Britain is underway.
It's absurd.
It looks like Lawrence Fox is in a row after posting a photo of himself on social media wearing a coronavirus mask exemption badge that he ordered from Amazon.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Police fined 3 people from different households for breaking coronavirus lockdowns after their VW Golf was spotted traveling at 95 miles an hour in the snow.
Oh my gosh, that's so in the snow? That seems dangerous.
That does seem dangerous.
So there's Matt with his rugby ball.
Yeah. People are out and about.
They're out and about.
No masks.
So what I should pull up for you guys, let's see if I can get it. Horatio had sent it to me, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, how do I... Can I just retweet this, Leah, for a second, and then you can delete it, and then we can pull it up? Can I do that?
You can retweet it and yeah, pull it up.
I don't do Twitter. And Leah's trying not to use mine. I don't know. I think you could probably use it. They're not going to flag it. Right? Right. I'm going to pull up Twitter. So in Leeds, they had a snowball fight. Okay? And then they got in big trouble. So here, I'm going to pull this up so you guys can see this. Everybody just literally lost themselves. Because there's criminals, all these criminal snowball fighters.
Oh, I love it.
Look at them. Look how much fun they're having. They got a ton of snow in Yorkshire.
Fun.
More than normal. And so they all get out and they have a snowball fight. And of course,
awesome.
Everybody is
a
losing their minds.
neighborhood snowball fight.
Yes.
I want to be there.
I know, me too.
This looks like
somebody's
so much
really
fun.
hurling those like really far. I mean, this is serious business. Actually, I can understand why the powers that be are upset. These people are not having a snowball fight. They are practicing for war against the government. They are practicing hurling stones that will get thrown at number 10 Downing Street or Parliament. This is military exercise in the guise of a snowball fight, which is why it must be shut down.
Absolutely. Abso-stinking-lutely. All right, I'm going to talk about these TV channels being launched. I want you, Michelle, find the video. I think it's one of the Facebook ones that the government is explaining how they have overinflated the COVID death numbers. It's one of those, and it's one of those up there. So Robert Murdoch's news channel UK TV is given approval to launch. Operation is racing against rival GB News, and that's going to be fun. So yeah, that one we want to play that one.
I think
and
we watched
that
no,
that's the one we want to watch
right now.
Well, after I do this, yeah.
Okay.
So you've got a couple good. I don't know if they're going to be good. I don't know, but they think that there is a hole to be filled, and I guess Ofcom gave the go ahead for these new outlets. I don't trust any billionaires, but I guess News UK TV is racing against the rival Andrew Neil backed channel GB News to be the first on the air. Both groups are aiming to launch next spring, despite concerns about the impact of a Fox News style broadcasting.
Oh my gosh!
Both outlets believe
if
there is
it really is like Fox News, you don't have anything to be afraid of, BBC.
Both outlets believe there is a gap in the market for right-leaning television news channels aimed at Britons who dislike the BBC's output. Really?
Yeah.
Really? You think?
Probably most Britons.
But here's the thing. They're looking to, I don't know who the Apprentice host Lord Sugar is, but they're also got Piers Morgan over there, so right-leaning, hello?
You guys have somebody, is that a legitimate name, Lord Sugar?
The current plan, according to individuals involved in the station.
And I will be, what is the female, when you marry a lord, what do you
Lady
get to
Sugar.
be? I'll be Lady Michelle Sugar.
I think that's not real. Okay.
Gotta
Is
be
for
real.
News UK TV to be an evening-only service, which will air for about 4 or 5 hours at night. The proposed lineup will start with an early evening politics show, a daily political debate program, and an evening news bulletin. The focus of the output will be a flagship resource-heavy evening program with a big-name host, which sources said until recently had the working title of Gotcha.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. That's echoing the infamous Sun front page from the Falklands War. However, this has now been renamed as the Smartcast. News UK TV, overseen by former Fox News and CBS News boss David Rhodes, is likely to be a free-to-air, and the company wants it to be primarily delivered online as a streaming service. So we'll see if what's going to go on with those. And I do know that Nigel Farage is in talks with one of them. I don't know if it's the UK or the GB News, but I don't know. It could be interesting.
Alan Michael Sugar, Baron Sugar. He's a British business magnate and media personality. Okay, and Barry says he's Jewish. It's a real name. His last name is really
And he's
Sugar.
worth $1.5 billion.
Holy smokes.
Okay, let's go to these inflated numbers here in the UK. Watch again. Volume.
Public Health England calculates the daily death figures from coronavirus. Let's get more from Sky's Rob Powell, who is in Downing Street this morning. What's this all about, Rob?
So this is about how Public Health England calculates who has died from coronavirus and who gets added, whose deaths get added on to that tally that we've grown used to seeing day by day, that currently stands at around 45,000. Now, the issue is that the way it's being counted at the moment means that if you are diagnosed, you test positive for coronavirus, even if you go into hospital, but then you recover and you come out, and then 2 months later, say, or a period of time later, you then die of something completely unrelated to coronavirus, your death will still be added to that coronavirus death tally. So the example that was given to me by a government source was basically if you had tested positive in February for coronavirus, you'd recovered, you'd been fine for the last few months, but then you'd been hit by a lorry or hit by a bus yesterday and died, your death would still be added on to that coronavirus tally, even though clearly, even though you may have had it, clearly your death is nothing to do with coronavirus at all. So essentially what this means is that that tally that we've been used to getting from the government every day when they are updating us on death figures is likely to be out, is likely to be too high, which means that that 45,000 figure that we are currently looking at in terms of deaths from coronavirus is likely to be wrong. Now, this doesn't affect when you're looking at excess deaths, a different way of counting deaths, and this doesn't affect the data that we get from the ONS. There's a couple of different sources of data for coronavirus deaths. The ONS figures are likely to still be accurate, but in terms of the actual count that Public Health England and the government rely on, well, that now looks to be inflated. So this urgent review has been ordered by the Health Secretary to basically try and sort out this issue and to try and establish actually by how much they have been overcounting their deaths. Hugely embarrassing for the government, especially after some of the ordeals that we've seen in terms of counting test data. It now seems that arguably the most crucial figure in this whole coronavirus pandemic, how many people have actually died from the virus, the government's own figures could be way out.
Well. Now, that's nothing new to us. But what I love about it is that he used the word embarrassed. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? It's not an embarrassment. Okay, they got caught frauding the world. Yeah. Okay? Because no one would agree to lockdowns for something like the flu.
Yeah.
If it's just a regular illness that doesn't kill a whole bunch of people, it's just hard to get through. Ain't nobody agreeing to lose their business over that. Nobody's agreeing to the face muzzles over that. That's why they had to inflate and pad the numbers. This is criminal behavior. These people will be prosecuted under spiritual tribunals.
Mm-hmm.
God is going to take these people out, man.
Yeah. Speaking of taking people out, Mike Pompeo has been issuing a worldwide call. We cannot trade with China on these terms. Wake up. The Xinjiang province is a concentration camp full of Uyghurs in concentration camps. We have to stand up on a global level against the CCP. And I'm glad for all the faults in the British government. I am seeing some people stand up, and Dominic Raab here talking about this is a good thing. And I want to play it.
Of the scale and the severity of the human rights violations being perpetrated in Xinjiang against the Uyghur Muslims is now far-reaching. And it paints a truly harrowing picture. Violations include the extrajudicial detention of over 1 million Uyghurs and other minorities in political re-education camps, extensive and invasive surveillance targeting minorities, systematic restrictions on Uyghur culture, education, and indeed the practice of Islam, and the widespread use of forced labor. The nature and conditions of detention violate basic standards of human rights, and at their worst amount to torture and inhumane and degrading treatment, alongside widespread reports of the forced sterilization of Uyghur women. Internment camps, arbitrary detention, political re-education, forced labor, torture, and forced sterilization, all on an industrial scale.
Yep.
It is truly horrific. Barbarism we had hoped lost to another era being practiced today as we speak in one of the leading members of the international community. And today I can announce a range of new measures to send a clear message that these violations of human rights are unacceptable, and at the same time to safeguard UK businesses and public bodies from any involvement or links with them. I've been working closely with my right honourable friends, the Home Secretary, the Secretary of State for International Trade, and the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster. And our aim, put simply, is that no company that profits from forced labour in Xinjiang can do business in the UK, and that no UK business is involved in their supply chains. Let me set out the 4 new steps we are now taking. First,
let me explain something though. This is not even a half measure. Xinjiang is not a country.
Right.
To say that we won't do any business, or we shouldn't allow business with the Xinjiang region, it's still China.
Exactly.
It's still China. Okay, if these people meant business, if they really cared, this is why I have always called out the Black Lives Matter shenanigans for what it is. We accept stuff from countries that use slave labor. Oh, don't worry. It's in the north. It's not in the south. But the difference is that they had outlawed slavery in the north, and it was legal in the south. It's legal all over China. Okay? They take people's organs no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you do. Okay? The fact that the world is just is drinking the milk of China, knowing that it's poisoned with slavery, is beyond what I can't even.
Well said.
The SCDO and DIT have issued new, robust and detailed guidance to UK businesses on these specific risks faced by companies with links to Xinjiang, and underlining the challenges of conducting effective due diligence there. A minister-led campaign of business engagement will reinforce the need for UK businesses to take concerted action to address that particular and specific risk. Second, Mr. Speaker, we're strengthening the operation of the Modern Slavery Act. The Home Office will introduce fines for businesses that do not comply with their transparency obligations. And the Home Secretary will introduce the necessary legislation setting out the level of those fines as soon as parliamentary time allows. Third, we announced last September that the transparency requirements that apply to UK businesses under the Modern Slavery Act will be extended to the public sector. So the SCDO will now work with the Cabinet Office to provide guidance and support to UK government bodies to exclude suppliers where there is sufficient evidence of human rights violations in any of their supply chains.
Wow.
A lot of big talk. We'll see where it ends up. Okay? I accept. The IDS urges Boris to use Brexit's powers to ban China trade. We can lead the world on this. Ian Duncan Smith has urged the UK to use its new freedoms gained from Brexit to back an amendment that would block a potential trade deal with China over the communist state's human rights record. I'll just let him speak here.
Smith, how confident are you of widespread support
No, we're not plugged in.
for this amendment in Parliament?
Well, I think there's all the non-governmental parties are 100% behind this, and a very significant number of my colleagues absolutely agree with this. The stumbling block is, of course, the government itself is now trying to lean on all sorts of colleagues to stop them voting for it if they believe in principle, and that's normal, I guess. If you are a government, you want to get your business. But the truth is, I think it's a wrong move by the government. The government, the British government, should embrace this. I mean, do we want to do a trade deal with a country that's guilty of genocide? I think not. And I think the real reason why the government talks about there being problems about handing over powers to the judiciary, but in actual fact, the government itself retains the power to make trade deals. They talk about Parliament, but they don't have to bring trade deals back to Parliament at the moment. They have the power to say yes or no. So this would be the only way at the moment of being able to say to them, look, we don't think this is the right thing to do. So the government, the real reason, if we're really honest, is that the UK government is genuinely, inside they'll deny it, but they're hoping to do a deal of some sort of as soon as possible with the Chinese government as they come out on trade and economics. There are all sorts of plans rattling around the buildings from the Treasury and from Downing Street. And so the reality for us is that we need this to be looked at, because if it is true, and if it is, and the evidence is there, then there is no way on earth that any moral person could possibly consider rewarding a country that is so ghastly in terms of what it does to its own people, rewarding them with some kind of trade advantage to this country or any other. And also, by the way, I'm told that the Senate, having seen what we're doing now, is planning to do the same, Democrats and Republicans.
So I want to throw that out. And I also, it's such cognitive dissonance where you have supposedly people, the Great Reset people are supposedly the anti-racism. They're supposedly the anti-discrimination people. No, they very much favor racism.
Yes.
They very much favor totalitarianism. They very much favor communism. But this is a grassroots movement of people who are saying no to communism, no to the Great Reset. You saw with the restaurants being open in Italy.
Yes.
You saw with the people in Canada. They are saying no to communism, no to the Great Reset. And there are more of us, and we are more sane, okay? Guys, China has embedded itself in a really strategic type of war that has almost been it's a cancer, and they have dropped themselves in every continent. They are trying to rape the planet. And it's a satanic, demonic spirit. And behind it, you've got the Tedros guy at the WHO, who isn't a real doctor, who is a communist. Okay. I had a word from God about communist and communism. And I honestly thought that this election would have been, when I was looking at it this summer, the word that I got that it was going to be between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, and communism and socialism would be on, and everybody would be battling it out. We're actually seeing that now, which is very interesting to me. That ever since it looked like, ever since they took Donald Trump off of Twitter, if you'll notice, people, maybe you haven't, maybe you're not on Twitter, maybe you haven't seen the totalitarian, people are awake. They're joking about it, but they're talking about communism. They're talking about totalitarianism. They're saying that, don't worry, guys. The people at the top, they begin to eat each other. They begin to eat each other.
That's so true, and you should be encouraged by that.
Okay? And they get to power with a few numbers, and I'm looking at. I'm going to go ahead and Michelle can peruse any of these other links and see if they were worthwhile. But I'm going to go to my next thing here. You can see if there was anything I missed. And I think in the Facebook ones, I didn't want to bring them up because my messages kept popping up over and over again. And I was like, nobody wants to see, they don't want to see your message.
We didn't play
popped up.
this Nigel one yet. If you want to play that.
Nah, it's a long one.
Okay,
it's a long one. I think some of them were. There might have been a funny one. Keep going.
Let me close this.
Close that one. Yeah. Close that one. Yeah. Close that one. Close that one. Okay, I think we're good.
I've got a whole other one though.
Yeah. That one's okay. I don't know. One of these British people tracked down. She was wearing a green shirt, and as Barry messaged me at the Capitol riots, she looks like a liberal who supposedly had been all of a sudden interested in right wing chat rooms. So I'm going to investigate that a little bit more. But I do believe that some of these Antifa were going into these right wing chat rooms to radicalize people.
Wow.
To get them, well, you need to fight for your country.
These are the other ones that I have up. This is a whole nother thing.
Okay, but I don't have Newsmax up, so I don't know where that came from. Well, that must have been Mom. Okay, you guys want to see a funny one? Okay, here's a funny one.
Oh, wait, I gotta switch my thing here. Here we go.
I'm taking this beyond what we're supposed to do. See you.
Okay.
Come on.
Oh, you scroll down and his good face there. Rewind it.
They saw it.
I'm taking this beyond what we're supposed to do. See you.
Okay.
Come on.
81 million voters for that guy. Yeah. Where am I?
I don't
What
know.
the?
Where's my mom? Is my wife here
Where's
somewhere?
my wife? She normally leads me off the stage.
My sister wife?
My sister wife. Okay, you can make it speak again.
Are you sure you want me to go through any of these?
No, just make me big and then I'll tell you if there's...
Make me big again.
Yeah, the Communist Chinese Party's human rights abuses in Xinjiang, and this was just put out, CCP human rights abuses. This was put out by our State Department, just by Pompeo, and it is a wonderful, I mean, that's not wonderful, but you can, this is the go-to. You could spend 5 hours, we could be discussing this, but I want you guys to know that this is here. I have tweeted it out. And I honestly, I'm wondering if we have to like screenshot it, you know what I mean? Cause I know what's going to happen, but if it's in for a few days, if they take this down, you know what I mean?
I'm sure somebody has it archived.
The Chinese Communist Party's, yeah, but where do I find it? Chinese Communist Party's human rights abuses in Xinjiang, and you can, what's happening in Xinjiang, forced population control, forced labor, violations of religious freedom, Secretary Pompeo's statements. The CCP has detained more than 1 million individuals.
4 of my family members are now put in concentration camps by Chinese government.
My mother was taken to Chinese concentration camp in September 2018 and vanished since then.
I haven't heard from her for almost 3 years, and I feel frustrated, furious, exhausted, and hopeless all the time.
We were given 2 strict options: either become Chinese or die.
We need to know if she's alive. Please help bring her back to us.
I hope that the international community and human rights organization can hold the Chinese government accountable.
If no immediate and effective action is taken against China, we may perish soon.
So what's happening in Xinjiang? The Chinese Communist Party is waging a targeted campaign against Uyghur women, men, and children, members of the Turkic Muslim minority groups in Xinjiang, China. China took a piece of land that did not belong to them, and that's where those Uyghur Muslims live. Documented human rights abuses include coercive population control method, forced labor, arbitrary detention and internment camps, torture, physical and sexual abuse, mass surveillance, family separation, repression of cultural and religious expressions. Internment camp, repression of religion, coercive population control. We read that. Oh, they including forced abortion, sterilization. Oh, they're happy to have less children.
Not. All lies. Do you want to read that out loud for the listeners? The United States calls on the international community stand with the Uyghurs to condemn these actions. Sorry, guys, we weren't reading in the start. And ensure the CCP ends this campaign of repression. Learn more at state.gov.
In recent years, these egregious abuses have increased through the government policies under the pretext and justification of fighting the three evils: the ethnic separatism, religious extremism, and violent terrorism. The U.S. Department of State, scholars, human rights organizations, journalists, think tanks, and survivors of Xinjiang camps themselves have provided ample information substantiating these abuses, including... Here's the thing. The Chinese government does not deny that the camps exist.
No, they actually came out and they said in their Twitter that these women, once they've been forced, sterilized, they're happier.
Yeah. With only having one child and family children planning. It's horrible. Forced abortion. They're so used to this, and now they want their population to grow.
Right.
But it's almost like demonic. Well, we have to do it to somebody. Well, no. We want our
is
population
demonic.
to grow, so they're letting people have more babies in China, right? They're actually encouraging it, okay? But the demonic power of sterilizing people and killing babies and abortion is in them. They can't stop.
Yeah. So
You know what I mean? They're like a drug addict. They're like a drug addict. All right. So you guys can go. We cover it all the time. It's very important. All right. We're going to move on a little bit to the U.S. stuff, kind of round off our show.
Before we do that.
No.
Well,
okay.
Before we get to the U.S. stuff. Are you on U.S. stuff right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I want to do, because I want to give you guys some hope. And I think that this is really, really important. And I'm going to pull this up. It's a almost 6-minute clip. Leah, so this is going to explain.
Oh, yeah.
This video is going to explain it, but a friend of ours sent this, and I mentioned it yesterday. And let me send it here to Leah so I can pull up the link. We had someone that stopped by that made us aware of the battle in Estonia for essentially their independence.
Mm-hmm.
And we were so moved by it. And then she sent me this link, and they called it the Singing Revolution. And they claimed their freedom through hope and peace and singing in mass. Apparently they started this back in the 1800s, where they would get together and they would sing. And it's grown to such a huge number that it's part of their culture. And speaking of culture, that's one thing that they were trying to... What happened is Russia was trying to take over. And they're like, no, we need to be our own place. We need to be our own people. And we are not going to lose our culture to you. And they did it through this thing called the Singing Revolution. And
don't bring up so they can see my...
I know.
Messages up.
Well, it's my Facebook that I'm pulling up anyway. Because I just sent it to you. I just need the link. But I want... It's a very short clip. Because there's an entire documentary out on it that I have not yet watched, and I want to. But I wanted to encourage you guys that when we talk about the power of God, and we talk about how God is moving, and it's going to be a spirit of prophecy, it's going to be a spiritual awakening and a revival that changes this nation. It's this kind of spirit that we're talking about here. So... let me switch over. I don't think I'm on the right screen here. There's Joe still. Let me get off of Joe. Go to... There we go. All right. You guys, are you ready for this? It's going to be good.
Do you know what magic feels like? Do you know where it hides? Is it flying in the blue sky? Is it hidden in the dark soil that grows the flowers? Or is it in the northern breeze? It actually hides in all of them. Let me explain it to you. There is a place in the north of Europe, right next to the sea, a country called Estonia. On a piece of land, 45,000 square kilometers, live 1.3 million Estonians. In the soul of these people is something magical that has kept their culture and language alive all the centuries when they've been under the rule of different countries. This magic has survived slavery, genocide, countless wars and aggressions. This magic is the only thing that no foreign ruler could take away. The will to preserve one's traditions and language lies in the idea of breathing as one nation. Singing is a way to breathe together. It was when Estonia was under Tsarist Russia that the tradition of the song celebration was born, along with Estonia's national awakening. The first national song celebration was held in the summer of 1869. A gathering of 845 singers has grown into a 150-year-old tradition, bringing today together 30,000 singers and 70,000 spectators. It is said that Estonians sang themselves free from Soviet occupation in the 1988 singing revolution that led to independence. It was in the songs where Estonians hid their love for their country, their longing for freedom. Singing together kept our souls alive. It is the act, coming together, singing the same songs, which is not merely singing, but over the years has become breathing together. Most of the Estonians have been to the song celebration, and to keep the song culture alive throughout the time between the big celebrations, they hold local festivals all over Estonia, from small village stages to large festivals in all genres. And it is in this breathing together where the magic happens. It is a feeling. You stand in the middle of thousands of people who sing with full pride. You might not even understand the lyrics, but you will know nevertheless. You will be overwhelmed and never forget that feeling.
It's emotional. You're just in it and so much emotion around you.
This is what magic feels like.
So I wanted to share.
Awesome.
I wanted to share that with you guys because that's how we combat this evil. And I know he was using the word magic. Listen, we don't have a good word for what magic means in our cultures.
I know.
It just means something that touches you in a way that seems extraordinary.
Ethereal.
And so I would just say, this is what the Holy Spirit looks like.
Yeah.
This is what the Spirit of God looks like. And I want you guys to take that away with you, knowing that we have a force that is stronger than anything that evil could come against us.
Yeah,
with.
and that's why we don't storm Capitol buildings. Crazy people. Okay,
Exactly.
you could have do you know what would have happened if we had sung with one voice outside and just sang and sang and sang and sang? And they did that. They did it when we marched around the walls, and they did it, and that's why the left and the Democrats, I do believe Antifa, infiltrated our little chat rooms and pulled out some of the crazies.
Yeah.
And got them to think that they could do something beyond the spiritual.
So on DLive, which we are still live there right now, So What says, I think Estonia and Finland have a similar national anthem. Based Vlad says, Estonia cabinet minister to resign after calling Biden corrupt, saying Trump would emerge as election winner. Estonian conservative people said communists made him resign. J2Me says, it's a peaceful way to protest. Native Americans do this. That is so cool. And I was just about to say that it was the Holy Spirit. Based Vlad says, we in Finland appreciate Estonians. We share the border and struggle. I've been warning them for the past 3 years.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. All right. So we're going to go over here just to sum up a few things that's happening in our nation's United States Capitol. This man right here, if you have some kids in the room, take them out. He uses some...
But what are we going to watch?
We're going to watch a construction worker kind of explain what's going on in D.C.
Okay, with all the
military and stuff like that. So he uses some foul language to describe it, but I want you guys to hear what he has to say and see what he does. You might not be able to see it. It's not going to open up.
Do you need me to pull it up?
It's the Gateway Pundit article, if you want to.
I don't see it.
That's because... Oh, wait. Not that one. That one. To the next. To the right. It's right there.
All right, so...
Continue without disabling.
All right, so here we go. I'm on the wrong screen again. Hang on, let me switch this over. I've got 2 different windows open, so I have to
you can close out the other window if you want to.
There we go. Here's the video.
What's up, guys? New update. Friday, 06:30, Washington, D.C. And it ain't the police doing the checkpoints no more. It's full out military. Holy shit. I want to show y'all something. See this? See this military right here, all armed. I'm about to show you something very scary. These are big checkpoint gates. I'm going to show you something. This shit is fucking crazy. This isn't Metro PD. This isn't the Secret Service or the Park Police. These are Humvees with M60s and saws and M4s, and they're all loaded. And that don't look like riot control to me, but check this out. Look at these barricades with these personnel tunnels and shit to go through. I'll give y'all another update in a minute. I'm walking up to my job site now, so I gotta check in. But the U.S. look at this. This thing pops up so cars can't drive through it. This is what our intersections look like now. If you need all this to protect your inauguration from the people, maybe the fucking people didn't fucking elect you.
Well, he said it. I didn't say it. He said it. I did not say it. I'm reporting on someone else saying it.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Now hang on. Before we move on from that, because that's just too good to not let that linger for a second.
This is a surreal moment. Everybody in DC and Jack Posobiec and all these people are like, this isn't normal. Like, a few people went to the Capitol building. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. But we had riots all summer, and they didn't put the National Guard, and they not only that, they didn't
riot control.
This isn't
They're
riot.
not afraid that we're gonna riot. Now, here's the thing. I have another theory, okay, that I'll get to in a second. But they're not afraid of the riots. They're afraid of us bringing all out, like, straight up war, because they know that we have the military personnel and all of the everything to do it. So there's that. Now, aside from that, though, I don't think that that's what this is all about either, though. I don't think it's about riot control, and I don't think it's about all-out war. I don't know what it is, but it's fishy.
A little bit.
Okay? They're planning something, but I don't think it's because they are afraid that Q people are going to bring all these retired generals and a mass army of people and tanks.
Right. What is it for?
So what is it? It's not riot control. It's going to be great. I'm telling you, God is about to pull the biggest show. I don't even know what's going to happen.
It's the happening.
It's the happening. You know what I think it is? I think that spiritually, these people have demons telling them in their ears, like, it's going to be crazy. It's going to get crazy. They're bringing the wrath. They're bringing an army. It's the biggest army you ever saw. Like, that's what the demons are telling them. We got to get prepared for this biggest army we ever saw. We're about to get destroyed. They're coming on us. They become schizophrenics. All of them. They're crazy. They're hiding in the basement like, we gotta protect ourselves. They're coming. It's all coming.
Don't you think they've heard some of the prophecies?
And we're not doing anything? I'm messing up my hat.
They think some Humvees are going to stop God.
Right. And guess what? It's a whole host of angels and an army, and you are hearing the drumbeat of the boom, 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 and it's coming, and you are afraid. And God is coming, and no barricades are gonna stop him. No Humvees are gonna stop him.
Angels, you can't shoot them.
You can't. It don't work that way. And guess what? You got nothing to defend yourselves against what's coming
from God.
You have no spiritual weapons.
Is on the move.
They have no spiritual weapons.
Everyone, God is doing something. You can't stop it. I honestly don't know exactly what it is.
We
God
don't know
has kept
either.
me in the dark.
Yeah.
But I know he's going to do something. God himself.
And I really and truly believe that this must be what they are preparing for. They're hearing in the spirit realm from their demonic little ears.
God is going to move. And so they're thinking that they can amass troops against God.
Right. They're literally, and you know what? They're going to be like, please just send us into that herd of swine.
All right, Jack Posobiec had a tweet that said,
the Son of God.
According to the Radcliffe letter, the CIA didn't just downplay the Chinese election interference intel. They actively went to other agencies to suppress it. Wow. China did interfere in our election.
Yes. All right, so Unsane wants to know, does anyone know the name of the video we just played? Go to Gateway Pundit and put in, let me pull it up here. The article is called, quote, if you need all this protection, your inauguration, all this to protect your inauguration from the people, maybe the effing people didn't effing ELECT.
So this is from Representative Kevin Brady from Texas. He says, media reporting Pelosi holding impeachment papers in the House. Why? Admit they need evidence before the Senate holds a trial. Evidence now, after they impeach? Congratulations, House Democrats. Now hold U.S. record for most evidence-free impeachments ever. Way to go.
That's good. Evidence-free impeachment.
When it's your community versus when it's their community. Nancy Pelosi, in July of this year. Unidentified stormtroopers, unmarked cars, kidnapping protesters, and causing severe injury in response to just graffiti. These are not the actions of a democratic republic. DHS's government actions in Portland undermined its mission. Trump and his stormtroopers must be stopped.
But Nancy, y'all people have called for these stormtroopers
even
in
after
DC.
This dark time in history in America, we find our reasons for hope. It is my privilege today to personally thank the members of the National Guard who are working to protect our nation's capital. Thank you to our commitment to American democracy. So, remember in May of 2017 where Nancy Pelosi said, our election was hijacked. There's no question Congress has a duty to protect our democracy and follow the facts.
Right.
I like this from Kaya Jones. Sometimes faith will make you look stupid until it starts to rain.
That's a fact. That's really good. Remember, he is the storm.
Red Rover. Here we have the next migrant caravan coming over. Now, I thought that you don't want people to be bursting through police lines and that is a threat to democracy. It's a threat to freedom.
Now, when is this from?
This is from now. This is the South American caravan.
Oh, yeah, that's coming up. Yes. Oh, my gosh, people are going to get trampled. Oh, that's awful. Oh, my gosh, they are getting trampled. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. It's a pileup.
And Joe Biden would say, let my people in.
Let my people in. Whoa, that's scary, man.
And we played that one. All right, so the last one I want to play is this one. You can play it.
Actually,
Donald Trump is leaning more towards, supposedly, an Assange pardon than a Snowden pardon. I hope he does both, but his advisors are advising him not to pardon anyone else.
Get those advisors out of the way. Move, fool, get out the way.
Democracies,
if he had pardoned them,
pseudo-democracies that we are evolving into.
We make it big.
Wars are a result of lies. The Vietnam War and the push for US involvement was a result of the Gulf of Tonkin incident. A lie.
Here, here.
The Iraq War famously is a result of lies. Wars in Somalia are a result of lies. The Second World War and the German invasion of Poland was a result of carefully constructed lies. That is war by media. Let us ask ourselves, of the complicit media, which is the majority of the mainstream press, what is the average death count attributed to each journalist?
Oh.
When we understand that wars come about as a result of lies peddled to the British public and the American public and the publics all over Europe and other countries, then who are the war criminals? It is not just leaders, it is not just soldiers, it is journalists. Journalists are war criminals. And why one might think that that should lead us to a state of despair, that the reality that is constructed around us is constructed by liars, is constructed by people who are close to those that they are meant to be policing. It should lead us also to an optimistic understanding, because if wars can be started by lies, truth can be started, peace can be started by truth.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
If wars can be started by lies, then peace can be started
by
truth. That's really good.
Yeah, so what do we see today? We saw Italians eating their pasta with freedom.
Yep.
We saw Canadians who are, that's enough. We saw the Estonians who sang for their cultural freedom and freedom from the Communist Party in Russia. We saw in Vienna, Austria, people rising up, and the lockdowns have done us all a wonderful service,
right,
in bringing us, uniting us together, showing us who the deep state is, showing us who the Great Reset people are, and recognizing once and for all that humanity cannot be kept down or kept contained. You cannot do an entire global communist takeover.
Oh, and that's so they bit off more than they could chew, so they get to eat nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you got to spit out the whole thing, because you can't chew it and you can't swallow it and get rid of it. We don't want your communism. You try to take over too much.
Too much.
Okay? You know, little by little.
Worldwide domination, it just was a bit much for
If you
people.
had worked at this for another 300 years, you probably, at that kind of increment, you probably could have gotten
I
there.
recognize that you want it done in your lifetime.
Exactly.
Carl, the reason being is people like the Carl Schwab. Is it Carl Schwab? Is that him? Yeah. Carl, not Charles. Carl, his brother. I guess his brother. I don't know.
Charles
Schwab. He wants the technology to keep him and his
buddies.
Not
Charles. Charles is the financial.
Said Carl.
Carl. Oh yeah. Yes. Carl.
I think his name is Carl Schwab. Whoever the George Soros guy is. He wants to keep his
Klaus.
Klaus Schwab. He wants to keep his brain alive. He wants to make us into these, not all of us, okay?
Right.
They want to kill off a bunch of us. Him and his cronies, they want to keep them alive in some sort of robotic state. He's afraid of death.
Yeah.
Okay? So he wants this technological, biological, you can read it. Like, we've played it. It's absolutely insane. And the media downplays it. Yeah, no, great reset. And then Twitter, Jack Dorsey says, ooh, 2030. And we're all just like, we know. We know that's what you want.
Right.
And so my answer to 2030 is the book of Revelation, okay? It's the book of the Bible. Beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible. We win. Humanity wins. You don't get to play this game anymore. We let you play. You played badly. Okay? No more dark sorcery, witchcraft craziness. We have awoken. You have woken a sleeping giant of Christians, and that's how we win this thing. Okay, so I want you to be encouraged. Laugh with the Italians. The lady with the pantyhose on her head is so funny.
It's so great.
Laughing at the insanity of it. Humor is your best tool because it gives you hope.
The best part about that, though, that video clip of her, is previously when you go to rob a bank, you put the pantyhose on your head, and so. I just don't understand why, like, I mean, I may start doing that just for kicks. Just like from now on, when I go into a store, I'm just going to put pantyhose on my head. Like, literally, you cut it off and you tie it in the little rubber band and stuff.
Put a big bow on top.
Put a big bow on.
Tie the legs in a bow.
This is my face mask. I'm not here to rob the place, but I may be packing. Just kidding. Go ahead.
So funny. All right, guys, I want to thank you for being here. I want you to share the video, tell the world news to everybody. Get excited. We may come tonight. We definitely should be here tomorrow.
What are we going to come here tonight for?
I don't know.
You never know. We're on the edge of our seat. We're waiting.
I don't know.
Y'all know the saga of Michelle and the Christmas decorations? They already started taking them down. And so I have a mess in my living room. And so now I have to clean it up because I'm not going to go into the 19th, 20th, and 21st with my house a wreck of Christmas decorations in the process of coming down. So we have to do that, number one, because we know something big's coming for the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st.
John Stossel even said that he used to believe Snowden was guilty, and then he did an interview with him, and his mind has changed. So, all right, guys, we are not doing 1984, okay?
No.
We're not doing it.
We win or we win.
Yeah.
Okay? Oh, I was reading. I want you guys to go back and read.
Pantyhose lady is my hero,
says Phoebe. Go back and read the book of Joshua, but you will notice something really interesting about Jericho. And I read this to Leah last night or this morning. I think it was last night. The entire city of Jericho was shut up. You know why it was shut up?
Oh, yeah, because they were scared.
Because they had heard the works of the Lord.
That's exactly it.
And were terrified. So I thought immediately about DC. They have shut up. It says in the Bible that no one could go in or come out of Jericho. Now, we did that Jericho march on December 14th. Now, obviously, we didn't go, but we covered it and we were there in spirit. Something is afoot, right? And it's really kind of mirroring Joshua and the Battle of Jericho.
Now remember, God made those walls come tumbling down. Look at this. Look at my arm.
Yeah.
Look at my arm.
I see it. She's all goose pimply.
Okay. God brought Jericho down.
Yes.
They went around and what did they do? They sang and then they shouted.
And they blew
the ram's horns. And they shouted. And those demons don't know what God had planned. Here's the thing. Jerichoians didn't know what God had planned.
Right.
All they knew is that they had heard of a God who had parted a Red Sea, who had swallowed up the Egyptian army, and that they were coming towards them.
And not only that, but you'll notice that in order to even get there, they had to cross over another sea that was parted, and
Right.
it literally, it says that they stood still.
Yeah.
And while the waters parted,
Mm-hmm.
so that they could walk across.
Mhm.
And we are looking at our waters parting moment. Jericho's walls come crumbling down moments. Now, if there's some Rahabs in there, they'll be saved.
Let me put it this way. If we had not turned to Jesus, you would be in for what most of you fear is coming. Okay? If the election had gone perfectly and Donald Trump had won straight out, they would have still put forth all their communist stuff. Okay? They would have stopped Donald Trump at every single whatever, okay, step of the way, just like they did for the past 4 years, and we'd be even worse off. But something happened because of November 3rd. People began to pray and ask God for a miracle. They didn't know what they were asking God for a miracle. They thought they were asking God to fix the election. Okay? But that's not it. Our prayers aren't, God, fix this election and let's just go back to normal.
No, we ain't going back to normal. No ways, no how.
Okay? Because the other side has taken off their mask, right? And so now that we know it's good and evil, it can't just be like, oh, let's go back to like elections and normal life again. No, can't happen.
Here's the deal. There's no new normal, but we're never going back to the way that
There's
it was.
no old normal. Okay?
It's not
We're in a manifest time of and here's the thing. I know this because they do want communism. They do want global takeover. So I know that we are in a dividing line in our country, and you need to thank God that we had these past few months to get together and discuss all the things that's going on, and discuss this and discuss that. And I'm not going to use the F word. That's actually a curse word to the left.
It's got 5 letters.
Okay, ends with a D, has an A in it, and a U, and an R. Okay. I'm not going to use that word. Okay?
Would not.
But we are going to use... The devil is a fraud. Okay? He is a liar. He's a cheater. He's a schemer. And he's been that way since the beginning.
Yep.
Okay? Jesus took the keys. So I want you to be excited because, like Michelle said, we win or we win.
We win or we win.
We win or we win. And you guys are plugged in because your neighbors don't understand what's going on. Okay, half of them, I'd say 48%, because I think 51% are, if you know what I mean, know what's going on. Okay, which would win an election if you had 51%, but that's another story. Okay, we don't, we didn't, right? Right. All right. This is how we work in the communist regime. We have to speak in code.
All right. Let me see. On Facebook, Jennifer says, your continued encouragement is just what we needed. Still standing and not ringing that bell, but still praying. Darlene says, wow, praise God. God is on the move.
We did not win the election. MSNBC and CNN and NNN are truth tellers. I shall never watch another ONAN, OANN or Newsmax. Oliver Darcy had said, come out, and he actually tried to work for Alex Jones. You know that, right? This guy, I never watch him, but he he's a newscaster. He's an idiot. He comes out and says, now, it doesn't mean that AT&T and Verizon and these networks actually have to allow people to watch or stream OANN or Newsmax.
Yes, it does, actually. Let's see. Remy says the gates are backwards. They were designed to keep people in, not keep people out. Oh. Interesting point there. That's kind of creepy. All right. I think that we're probably good. Thank you guys for being here. Is that the end of your show, Leah?
Yeah.
Resistance Chicks. RSBN is live in DC right now. So you guys can head over there after we sign off and see what the heck they're doing over there.
Really likes your hat.
I think this is a hat that I bought for you.
We share it.
We share everything. I'm laughing tears right now. Awesome faith and courage. All right. Thank you, Sylvie. CNN, says Lisa. All right. What are those news stations, news broadcasters?
So the new ones aren't out yet in the UK, but I'm sure you're aware of Newsmax and One American News. You can download the OANN app. So those are two where you can get some relatively decent news. I know a lot of it is sad and depressing and still because they're all ushering in the whatever. And then they're going to pull the Tucker Carlson, who he just loves. Tucker doesn't like anything to be a victory.
I know.
You know, and he doesn't like to fight. He likes to fight from a place of weakness and just like aghast. I can't believe that they would dare do this, but I can't do anything about it and want anyone to do anything about it. But however, he has been, I should say this on Tucker, he has been one of those people to talk about Assange and, you know, pull a few things out. Like, I don't think he's swamped. I don't think he's recognized as to how bad it is.
Right.
Because if you recognize how bad it was, you would have been like covering the election for the past 2 months. But he's got his money and he's got his mansion, and you know he can slip back into life. But here's the thing, they will come for you.
Exactly.
All right.
Whatever. A couple more comments. MU says, we know we don't put trust in man. Robin Poe says, I know that we will win because yesterday I woke up filled with joy and praising and thanking God. Amen. That's awesome. Lisa says, winners, I'll make the chicken dinner. Sir the Brit says, I looked at reports on how many CEOs are resigning from top companies worldwide. Something is happening and they are jumping
We are
ship.
the winners. Jesus trumps all.
Brit Baza says, USA is going the same way as China. Look how fortified the Chinese governments are. Fortified government buildings to dominate the people.
Recognize what God had made them say over and over again. Love trumps hate. Love trumps hate. They are full of hate, and you're absolutely right, and I'm glad you are forced to confess that.
Right.
All right, let's sign off.
All right, we're going to sign off. We love you guys. God loves you. God bless. Now, first thing you're going to do before you head over to, or after, one or the other, is you're going to go and watch the video that we did yesterday.
Yeah.
With the two women that we covered last week. We got a phone interview. It was really, you know, top journalism
NTD
here.
is even better, yeah.
You will love that show. It's only 45 minutes long-ish. Also, visit our website for all of the latest of everything that we're putting out. Go to the email and sign up so you will get notified. You will get a personal email every single time we put up something. It's actually working. Thank God I worked on that. So resistancechicks.com. If you're trying to do it from your cell phone, make sure you click the desktop version so you can actually get there. We're everywhere. We're on Telegram. We're on MeWe. We're on all the new places. Patriot Gallery's putting us on new places. We're on Gab now. Just
Clout Hub.
If you want to find us there, we're probably there.
Gab
podcasts
is a good one.
out. You know, everything. So
give us a minute to figure out where we're going to put most of our stuff because it's hard to put everything on everything.
Exactly. But be at peace. Don't ring that bell. If you need encouragement, go and watch that video.
Mass Faith 3 on Twitter is where everything goes.
Yeah.
For right now.
So you are posting on Twitter?
I just tweet things out. I don't make comments.
You're just retweeting?
I'm not. Yeah. MAS, not 2 S's. FAITH3. Under Michelle Svensson. You should be able to find her under Michelle Svensson.
Britt Baza says, Resistance Chicks, the family gets bigger daily and we will ultimately win.
Amen.
You got that right. We were supposed to open a package today and we didn't get around to it, so we will try to do that on one of our next streams. But I will let that person know. So, all right, you guys, we love you.
God loves you.
God bless. And it's not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's the truth.
Good night, guys. God bless.
I was cold all alone. No place for home every day.